Hello everyone, Andy here from Glass Half Dead, the #1 kill team channel on YouTube, unless of course you are aware of any other kill team channel on YouTube. If so, ignore that bit I just said. Player psychology profiles. Let's discuss the different types that make up the Warhammer 40k kill team Mellow. Magic has Johnny, Timmy and Spike, but I feel they don't transfer over to Warhammer or kill team particularly well. Also, and I really cannot stress this enough, the word Johnny in English slang means condom. As such, bizarrely, I've never really taken this player psychology ladder breakdown particularly seriously, so I thought I'd give us a kill team specific player psychology breakdown without using weird words like random names. So I'm going to actually define them a little bit in the name itself. Now this is pure psychology, not player skill, just to be clear. Someone that loves to break the game can still be a bad player, and someone who's a casual player could be naturally gifted and mop up in their local meta. These are, of course, broad categories, and many will find themselves spread across multiples. But also, if not obvious, these categories are objective fact, and there is no room for argument at all, or error. Now, let's begin with the true pillars of the community that give Kill Team the welcoming and magnificent aura of wargaming pageantry and majesty that it deserves. Sweatlords. The Sweatlords. These are kind of the win-at-all-cost players who will do anything to win. And again, don't forget this is regardless of their actual skill in the game, and they're just happy to gain their win from rules lawyering as well as from foundational skill, but the foundational skill was not required for them. These guys like to win by breaking the game, basically. If you've ever heard a rule that sounds like it definitely shouldn't work, but then they say, well, rules as written, it's clear. And let me tell you, that is the foggiest clear you've ever seen, and chances are really good it's going to get patched out as soon as the devs find out about it. Yeah. Typically, after playing against a Sweatlord, you will assume that you just played against the other type of psychological profile that I'm going to cover later, the cheater. But then you go to Reddit or Discord and ask, hey, is this how this rule actually works? After a few back and forths, a little bit of discussion, you're going to realize that by a very strict interpretation of rules, they didn't technically cheat. The most surefire way to identify a Sweatlord, though, is to talk to them outside of the game. And if the only time they've ever showed any real, true, genuine emotion, and that emotion is unbridled glee, is when they're describing a rule that definitely shouldn't work, how they're claiming it works, but no one could out-argue them in Discord, so now that's how the whole of their meta has to play, just to compete against them. That is a Sweatlord. There you go. Easy. Easy to identify. Typically, a Sweatlord will demolish you 21-0 if given the chance, and won't accept you conceding because that would hurt their ITC rank. Despite how internet discussion makes things look, they actually aren't that common in person. But unfortunately, some prominent Sweatlords tend to become content creators because the same sort of delusion that can lead to thinking extreme rules lawyering is fun and thinking anything you have to say is worthwhile. It's kind of the same delusion, isn't it? Let's be honest on that one, chaps. We then have the pro gamer, if you will. These folks, focuses and foci like to win, but only push towards winning with exploits after the Sweatlords have found those exploits and used them against them. It's really an arms race. The pros wouldn't have had to use exploits if the Sweatlords hadn't. The pros focus on grinding the game to get better at it, but keep themselves well within the bounds of good play. They will happily play the most broken teams and will meta chase based on the latest tier list from the Kill Team Mercenarios on Battle Kit, the only one true objective fact tier list, of course. Keep in mind, however, that although I've called them pros, there isn't actually a way to be a pro at Kill Team, as in professional. So a bit of a misnomer there, but again, there's no room for error here, pure objective fact, because prize pools just aren't at that level in Kill Team. The key difference between the Sweatlords and the pros is that you don't need a degree in technical writing to understand how what they're doing is legal in the game. Not by law of the land. Simply reading their team's rules, it's clear that they're just playing the game well and staying within the bounds of the game. Often, after playing against a pro, you'll come away with a greater appreciation of the game and feel like you've learned. The pros really are the pillar of the competitive community that a lot of the online community is built around. The pro is the type of player in a tournament who will see they have an unbeatable lead and then start pointing out good plays to you and helping you score as much as possible and not forget any of your rules. Truly, the unbridled golden gods of gaming, the pros are. Casual sweat. The casual sweats is the most common type of player that I've come across. They are irrational and bordering honestly on bipolar when you play them. They will vacillate heavily between being friendly and helpful in one activation to being the biggest rules lawyer you've ever seen whilst not having any idea how the rules really work and are just trying to go on vibes. Turn 1 will be like having a catch up with an old friend even if you've never met them before. A true delight. Turn 2, they will treat you like you just murdered their firstborn and cucked them. Don't take this personally though. They aren't doing this intentionally, they just have no emotional regulation or social awareness. Their demeanour in turn 3 depends on how turn 2 went, and turn 4 one of you has been tabled due to the sweaty play, vacillating with the casual play, so it really doesn't matter turn 4. They will also definitely claim an extra inch of movement because, hey, it's just a game, who cares, and visibility where they definitely don't have visibility because we're just having a chill game, so what does it matter? And then, when the pressure is off, either because they or you have no chance of winning, they're all smiles and inviting you for a drink after the game down the local. The casual sweat can be confirmed as a casual sweat when you go into the best part of every game, the post-game breakdown. They will start by saying, "You had very hot dice and I had a few fluffs." Incontrovertible proof, unfortunately, my casual sweat brethrens, I'm right there with you. Scrubs. The scrub, if you will. Don't be fooled by the name. The scrub will often be a dominating player in local metas, but they are defined by their complete lack of rules knowledge, and they seem to revel in grinding their opponent's willpower down to nothing with raw, undiluted, slow play. Every activation will take them a good 5 minutes of thinking, at which point they break their silence by asking you how a core rule works. Like, hey, how much does it cost to climb this wall? Scrubs are often forged in the fires of being naturally competitive and having a strong desire to win, alongside their friends trying to get them into their game of choice and so spoon-feeding them the rules. A scrub has probably never had to learn the rules or read the rulebook because of this. Despite having played the game for years, they will still regularly misunderstand line of sight. They won't make any move without fully reading every datasheet and ploy they have first, because although they enjoy the game, they literally don't know any rules, including for their team. But somehow, their actual tactical decisions are still shockingly on point. If you've never struggled with thoughts of self-harm, play a scrub, then you'll understand. Any offer of putting them on a chess clock will of course be declined because they're just not into that sort of game. As turn 2 rolls into your third hour and they start flicking through their own rulebook once again, you know you're facing a scrub. Cheater. The cheater. Or, as most will know them, the X. All you need is a microwave for your dice and Photoshop for your data cards. Unlike the Sweatlords, the cheater is the source of all good YouTube drama videos and therefore it's a paragon of the game and makes my job really easy. So, you know, I love some drama and therefore I love cheaters who think cheating on stream is a good idea. Amazing, thank you. Genuinely, thank you so much. No trick is too low, whether that be soft cheating like slow play or hard cheating like cooked dice. An extra inch of movement is nothing to them. They think they're owed it. And hey, they rolled 5 attack dice instead of 4 attack dice. No big deal. Mistakes happen if you catch them. And they picked up their dice so fast after rolling that you didn't see what they rolled. That's not their fault, that's on you, loser. They exist in every game, but luckily they are actually incredibly rare, of course. How they make it to stream tables so often and still cheat is beyond anyone in the 40k community, but again, content creators salute these absolute legends. Hobbyist. Now, look, the hobbyist is truly the lowest of the low at the table, okay? A despicable breed, often thought of alongside their sinister counterpart, the narrative gamer. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me just quickly look at my analytics. Okay, so most of my audience are actually casual hobbyists. Hobbyists are the real backbone of the community and the powerhouse behind what keeps Warhammer as an IP and Kill Team specifically running. They're a true engine of creation, an Ark of the Covenant, the thousand psychers fed to the Emperor every day. Without the aspiring artist and the inclusivity that creativity brings to wargaming, as it's socially acceptable for people all along the spectrum of humanity to be into creative pursuits, far more than people are socially allowed to be into the mechanical joy of gaming and systems, tabletop and wargaming is infinitely larger than the tournament sweats who foolishly believe themselves the majority would ever allow it to grow. To call them legends wouldn't be enough. They are true demi-heroes among mere mortals. You. The final objective fact of a psychological profile is, of course, you. Bad news. You are not a pro, a professional gamer. That was a made-up category to give the win-at-all-cost Sweatlord players a brief moment of respite about how horrifying they make the game to play for every other player. Sorry for tricking you, Sweatlords. Get wrecked, you delusional narcissists. If you don't know which psychological category you fall into, let me make it very clear. If you've ever beaten me in a game, you are a Sweatlord. If you've ever lost to me in a game, you are a scrub. If you haven't played me, you are a Schrodinger's player, and the only way to win this game is not to play. But actually also, you know, like Kill Team is pretty fun, so do play it. I was actually just trying to quote a movie with that little, like, the only way to win is to not play. I didn't actually mean don't play. But you know, hey, this is also a mildly humorous April Fool's video, so no one who's taking any of this seriously has stayed to this point. So we're in the clear. Oh, you know what? Bonus player, the faction loyalist. I would say the faction loyalists are the ones that are just gonna absolutely crush their meta and local community because they love Marines, and Marines are totally OP broken when it comes to casual players, so you're gonna just drive everybody out. Bye.